from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. So glad to be with all of you today. So how did everybody get through October? I'm sure a lot of things were brought up, but hopefully you stayed centered. And now we're on to November 2019. So the first thing that we have happening in November is that Mercury, which is still retrograde in Scorpio, will conjunct Venus. And this is just a lovely aspect. This, I think, a typical thing that may happen is you may hear from someone from your past, whether it's a love or a friendship. Or you could also reach out to someone from your past, either love or friendship. So I thought that was a cool way to start off the beginning of November. Now, on the 11th of November, we still have Mercury retrograde, but it'll now be conjuncting a Scorpio sun. So I would say this is a little bump in the road from the standpoint of you may literally bump into something that has power over you, or you may exert power over somebody else. But these could be powerful words that come back to you from your past. That was the other thing I was thinking. But this is like people kind of lording it over you. And if you are doing this, I would suggest that you stop that. Nothing wrong with being direct, but lording it over someone is not the best way to handle these very deep, sophisticated and complicated energies, which speak to Scorpio and, of course, the ruler Pluto and co-ruler, historically, Mars. Okay, so we have the full moon. And this full moon is going to be on the 12th of November 2019. It's going to occur at 5:35 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the degree point will be 19 Taurus, 52 minutes. So that's awfully close to 20 degrees of an earth sign. Now, when I looked at this full moon, I just really felt, after looking at all the aspects, that this full moon is really going to be grace under pressure. And I really felt that strongly. So this would be the time, maybe early in the month of November, to consider taking the high road when necessary, and understand that just like how diamonds are formed, pressure does produce something beautiful. And the key here is to use the remnants of that Libra energy, which really is grace. And now we're under this pressure with the Scorpio, Pluto, Mars influence. That, I think, just repeat that to yourself, maybe through the whole month of November, but certainly around this full moon on the 12th of November. You may find it actually helps you. Some of the positive things of this full moon in Taurus is that you want to experience engaging the senses. So that's all the senses. So a massage would be fabulous, good food, good wine, enjoying music and art. These are all things that would be wonderful to celebrate at this full moon. Now, the negative side would be fear of change, fear of losing something, whether it's a person or a possession in particular. But it also can be a time, because it's a full moon, don't forget, where you have the potential to maybe overindulge in food, drink, or sex. I am going to be going through briefly each of the astrological signs in this report as well, and I will timestamp them so you can always come back to look at your sign should you be reviewing this at an earlier time in November. So some of the more important aspects and transits that happen around this full moon, I'm not going to cover everything, but we do have the moon opposite Mercury, which is retrograde. It does trine Neptune and it does sextile Pluto. So these are, I would say, the Neptune and Pluto are pretty strong energies. And this being Mercury now, it really is saying that powerful words can be produced at this time, but we may also have power to use power so it works for us. And I guess the key here is that those dreams that you have, that you've been building over the past few months, have the possibility here of meeting with either your power, maybe it's your money power, maybe you go into your investments, or people in power offer you some opportunities now to start that momentum towards having your dreams or your wishes, what you want, actually have a clearer view of this. That's what I see with that. Now, we do have the Sun conjuncting a Mercury retrograde. I think this could be somebody taking back their words. I think that's going to happen in the collective for sure, but individually it can happen too. We have the Moon, which is opposite Mercury. It trines Saturn, as well as Pluto, and then conjuncts Vesta. So this is also another strong aspect. And again, I think this is now putting an emotional element into our structures. And with Vesta there, I would say this is probably a lot to do with our earth, how we treat our earth, how we treat the earth and things around us. So this is a strong energy. This may indicate a time where maybe even something like the EPA steps in, that's in the United States, and actually put some laws, further laws in place for our earth. We have Mars that's still in Libra, and it's going to be sextiling Jupiter. This is a marvelous, marvelous aspect to have. This is, in a balanced way, getting opportunities to expand what you want in terms of your dreams, in terms of your the things that you'd like to come true. Now you also have Saturn, which is sextiling Neptune too, and this is exact. So I think when you couple something like Jupiter, which does actually represent spirituality as well as expanding everything it touches, and then you mix it with the Saturn sextile Neptune being exact, it's really saying that this is an opportunity for you to take those dreams, put it into reality, and maybe even have some action taking place that pushes stuff forward, where you actually see something happening now. I'm going to start off with Taurus, because Taurus is where the full moon is on the 12th of November. So Taurus, this is your first house. Your first house represents who you are. So this could be a time where, being a full moon, you take the opportunity to actually discard some of your possessions that you don't feel either serve you anymore or that don't blend with the person that you are becoming. When we look at Gemini, it's your 12th house. This is the hidden house. It's the house of rest, recluse, taking up yoga, investigating metaphysical things. So you just may delve. We're now in November, which is, now getting into the winter months. You may just cozy up in front of the fireplace and decide to read a good metaphysical book, or you may take up tarot or astrology. For Cancer, it's your 11th house. So this is a time when your friends and groups, maybe even your hopes or wishes, are reviewed from the standpoint of what you possess, what you have in your home, what you have surrounding you. You may have, through your friends and groups, an influence that has you reviewing, does this really represent where I'm at right now? And you may have some input from your friends and groups at this time that help you with that. For Leo, it's your 10th house, so this is your career mainly. And this may see you, now when you look at Leo rising, for instance, Taurus is at your midheaven area, which is the top of your chart, and your career area. So this could be just a nudge to you to say, what do I need to maybe do with my career that's burdensome right now, that isn't really, I'm having to do it, but maybe I don't want to do it. And so this isn't a time when you would necessarily end something. You could, because it's a full moon, but I think this is more the realization, right? The realization that something in your career needs to go. When we look at Virgo, it's the 9th house. And the 9th house is anything to do with publishing, getting higher education. It's all things foreign. So this may have you dealing with foreign people, and it may be with investments, any kind of investments, and or money. For Libra, it's your 8th house. So the 8th house is actually ruled by Scorpio, and of course that is where the sun is at this full moon. So this may be a little bit more of an influence. This can be basically just shared resources, where you might have to bust open the savings for some reason and pull those forward to help you in some way in your life, especially with maybe regards to acquiring a possession. Typically this might be you applying for a loan for a car, for instance, or even for a house, and at this time you get approved. For Scorpio, it's your 7th house. So this is relationships, right? So this is where the sun is with this full moon, and opposite is the full moon in Taurus. So I would say Scorpios, you're also going to be influenced a lot by this full moon, a little more intensely than most signs. Of course, with Taurus, they will also be in that boat too. So this is partnerships, and you just may come to the realization that you don't want to be in this partnership anymore. That this partnership or parts of the partnership, whether it's business or marriage, you want to offload some of these things that are in the business or marriage because it no longer suits you. It's more of a burden, not an advantage, whereas it may have been in the past. For Sagittarius, it's your 6th house. So I think this is Sagittarius taking control of their health, whether it is your things that you eat, how you exercise, just the day-to-day habits that you have, where you decide to put a plan in place. Like Taurus is slow moving, right? So this might be a plan that you put in place that's going to take, a few months to get it going, but you're going to methodically put it together so that it works for you. For Capricorn, it's your 5th house, and this is potentially, even though it's a full moon, that moon is ruled by Venus, so this could be a new love in your life. It could even be a pregnancy for that matter. And the other thing it could be is business. You may start up a business to do with wealth of some sort and money, or it could be real estate too. So for Aquarius, it's your 4th house. 4th house is all about the home. So this full moon could have you maybe renovating parts of your home, where you're taking out and replacing some of your furniture or goods in the home to make them much more luxurious and beautiful, and removing those things that just don't fit in with how you feel your home should be at this time. It could have you renovating as well, because we've got Mercury there too. It could also be a time, if you're not doing any of these things, is to do something like feng shui in your home to improve the energy flow. Now with the last sign we've got is Pisces, and that's your 3rd house. So the 3rd house is mainly about communications. It's also your neighborhood and your siblings. So here I would say that there's something that's going to either come to light or come to a culmination with regards to something in all these areas. Now it could be your neighborhood, right? Because this is the earth and the ground that Taurus represents. So it could be something like that, where there's some literal shifting of the ground. Maybe there's going to be some construction around your neighborhood that you have to contend with, and you're dealing with your neighborhood and maybe your neighbors a lot more. All right, that's it for my report. I look forward to connecting with you again. The next moon we have is the new moon in Sagittarius, and that's going to be towards the end of November. Take care of yourself, everybody. Leave me comments. I would love to do your chart. In fact, this is a good time to get your chart done for the following year. We've got a big year in 2020 ahead of us, and it might be worth your while getting your personal chart done. Contact me through my website, albusastrology.com, and we can set something up from there. I wish you all the best. As per usual, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to do some meditation, even if it's a few minutes every day. Take care.